Man, I'm gonna have to control myself today because I went back and started watching the show, which is called Initiation. And this is season 1. I'm on episode 6. The Architects of Reality. But anyways, I really like how this guy explains stuff. He's got accents, so if you have a problem with dialects and stuff, then it might drive you crazy. But he just says things like that I totally understand, but he says them in a different way. So I was just like, oh yes, that's a great way to say that and stuff. And the stuff that he has been saying about light and dark, I've just been like, oh my gosh, that is such a good way. I got to share that. And one of the things that he says is that, not just that we wouldn't have, we wouldn't even know what light or dark was if we didn't have the other, So we have to have those experiences. And this place is built, like that's the structure of it. So to go through and have those experiences so that we can experience pain and suffering, because you learn so much from pain and suffering. And that's how I learned. I'm telling you, if I could have just kept going, whatever, the fast track to nowhere for, a long, long time. I had to experience loss of my life, loss of my brain, loss of, to look for something else, to grow, and it's gotten me into such a much such a much more beautiful place. Oh, and I got to do an update on Stella's leg. So yesterday, it was like, it was huge. It was like this paw was twice the size of this one. It was giant. It was all the way down. It was only this upper third that wasn't swollen. And it was like, what the fuck? And it had this big giant knot on it. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like panicked. And then I remembered that, because she gets cysts. It's something that mastiffs get. And this other time when they told me that they were going to have to surgically remove it, and then it popped itself. And I was seeing this one vet who I really liked, who was like a natural kind of person. And so she doesn't go like, okay, take this pill, this pill, this pill. She'll talk to you about like natural ways of healing. And so she told me to use the Epsom salt. So I started doing Epsom salt soaks on her yesterday. And then it just was so huge. I was like, man, I should make an appointment. It's spooky. And because, if a human gets an infection, then it can move into your blood and kill you. And I know that, every animal's different. They've got their own system to survive. But anyways, so I was just like, what the fuck? So I called to get an appointment, which she said it sounds like an abscess to her, but the soonest I could see me was Friday, and I'd have to go to emergency or whatever. So I took the appointment for Friday, and I just started really working on it and just doing soak, like once an hour to do a Epsom soak, which is just get soak a rag in some water that has some Epsom salts, and then get it warm and squeeze it out and stuff, and then just set it on there. She's only going to let it be on there like a minute or two at the most, so it's not like you have to do like 20 minute soaks every, I just kept doing it, and then it opened up and started seeping out all the pus. It's like half the size today. She's walking around. I haven't given her any medicine. She was having a hard time yesterday. So anyways, that was the update, and I'm so happy with that. Okay, so anyways, when he was talking about the light and dark, and I just really like how he explains things, how he says things. He uses really good metaphors and stuff like that. But we wouldn't be able to have one without the other. Like you couldn't have just dark. Well, I guess you can. But anyways, he was saying like it represents, it also is manifested in our system with dark and light. We have equal times of dark and light. And I'm like, oh, that is so. But he's saying, like he was talking about in another life, he was on a planet and there was 2 suns, because he's always making reference about where one sun planet. And he's talking about another life that he had, and it was on two two suns. He said we only had like 2 hours of darkness a day, and there was no evil. There was no trying to understand light and dark at all. It just wasn't even the experience there. And so to not even understand or know about evil. And see, that's why I keep saying that. So we're moving up. We're going into that kind of status on this planet. And that's interesting too, because I wonder if because I keep hearing that that the moon's going to be moved when this thing happens, and the moon will be moved. Well, that makes a lot of sense from what he's saying. If we no longer have a moon and we are just in day all the time, if we're just in the light, I don't know. That's stuff that we gotta watch how it plays out. But anyways, so he's saying that we have to go through these experiences of the dark and the light, and that is the whole thing of like why we go in and play out these different roles. And that's why you will, anybody who thinks, like I've said it a million times, anybody who thinks like they're the good guy is completely wrong. I mean, your soul has gone through a lot of experiences. That's why we shouldn't get hung up on judging other ones that are going through experiences, because we've played out these roles. And the crazy thing is, we've probably played it out as ancestors to some of these other people, because we're all intertwined like a blanket. We are the fabric of what is this creation, and we're all intermingled together. Like you can come in here and go out, and then come back in, go out, come back in, and you're intertwined throughout the whole entire thing. And it's just the whole thing that people just look so much at life through the eyes of religion, or it's just this weird way that we're taught to look at things. Because when we pull back and we look at it different, you see something totally different. So different. You see the same. It's like you're standing there staring at a painting, and maybe you're just way too close, and you're standing there like, what the hell is this? And somebody comes up and taps you on the shoulder. Scoot back. You get a better way of looking at it. You scoot back, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I see the picture. Now I see what it's showing, So anyways, the thing about the light and the dark and stuff like that. So he's talking about enlightenment, what we're all going through right now. And so many people, and this is what I was talking about too. And that's why this guy coming to me right now is just like, you get to a certain point, and then they bring in the information that you need, or the confirmation or whatever. They bring it to you when you need it. It's crazy. Or when you're ready for it, or whatever. It's like the teacher's there when the student is ready. And that's why planting seeds is so important, because you plant them even though someone is unaware that they've got, these seeds of thought, seeds of perception growing in their minds. When some other thing happens, it sprouts. It may not fully grow. Maybe it has to have more, but there's these aha moments like, oh, a light bulb went on, now I get it. It's this growth of thought, of understanding. And so weird. My eyes just play tricks on me. I think it probably has to do with whatever, going blind or whatever. It's temporary though. I know it's temporary, because I know that I'm even working on trying to heal my or straighten my spine. Okay, so anyways, I just see things out of the corner of my eyes, and it's weird, because sometimes I'll look and I'll be like, oh, that just looks, and sometimes I'll go slow, like, what is that? Because it'll look so different. And it's like, I want to see how am I making that? You know what I mean? It's weird. Okay, so in the light and the dark thing, so he's saying about the enlightenment, and but this is where the people all keep getting into, they've just got to go to the light. I got to focus on the light. I got to focus on the light and leave out the dark, which he says, in the perception of angels and devils, like how so many people perceive energy is angelic or demon, or aliens or whatever. But so he's saying, you go up into the sixth dimension, they're working together. People think like that they're separate, they're at war or something. No, they use each other to create the experience. They have to have each other. And so what he was talking about is, so like so many people are focused on enlightenment, like focus on the light, enlightenment, get to God and all that stuff, like I'm gonna go through the tunnel and get to the light. But it really is the merging, it's the gray. You don't want to just be in the light, you don't want to just be in the dark. We can see, we've got a lot of beings here right now, they're just in the dark. And they just bring so much pain and suffering, but they have a role to play. That's the thing, is even these most horrible people that we just when I talk about them, I'm just like, I don't even think they're human. I think they're some kind of hybrid being that is not fully human, because they don't have any, we're food to them. So that right there shows me that's weird. So, just turn it on higher. It's really crappy out again today. So anyways, he's saying that it is the goal is to get to the gray, to not see the dark and not see the light, to accept both, to understand that they need each other, and that is that's what makes the complete story. And especially here in this realm, which we know of, Earth is a polarity place. That's what people come in. It's a really hard, like in spiritual world, is thought to be like a really super hard, like Ivy League university to go to Earth for the experiences, because it's dark and light. You will go through some shit. You will absolutely go through some shit, and then you got to build yourself back up. And so a lot of souls come down here, and we see it all around us all the time. They get beat down. They don't remember who the fuck they are. They don't know that they're a powerful being just having an experience. They're caught up in it, man. This is real shit. And they forget, I'm going to leave this one and I'm going to go play somebody else and, be completely different. Maybe I'm going to be a rock star. It's you get to play whatever. When you're here playing a different role, that's the role you wanted to play. And I don't know why there's so many people that seem to be just like, want to play the part of like a idol worshipers, but that's part of understanding about the light and dark and releasing stuff like that, because you can get so caught up in worship of stuff that's not you, and listening to people who aren't you, and pulling away from your own inner guidance. But when I talk about this stuff about the non-judging, that's what it has to do with. You can't judge all the stuff. You can't come up with, well, I can judge this. This is bad. I can judge that. Okay, well, you just put judgment. So you just decided, you're the judge and jury. You just decided what is good and bad. So that is why this thing that we're doing right now, it's releasing all that stuff. So I really liked how he explained it, and so I wanted to get his way of saying it too out there, because I see it totally that way. Even when I keep hearing about these horrible people, even if I say negative shit about them, you can say negative shit about something. That doesn't mean you're going to hell. Cussing all the time doesn't mean you're going to hell. Dancing doesn't mean you're going to hell. This experience right here that we are experiencing is the closest thing to what we would perceive hell to be. This is what it is. And if you go to a place that is just dark, then I don't know if it's just the whole experience is just about death. I mean, what can live with no light, and what can grow with no light? So but there can be other forms of life. Like the moon is supposedly dark, but the moon supposedly has all sorts of space stations. There's all sorts of shit going on in the moon that they don't tell us, because we're just cattle. We're just living in the fucking time warp hamster habitat. We don't need to know. We're too crazy and stupid. But, it's not that we're crazy and stupid. It's just we're manipulated and cut off from who we are. But we're remembering who we are, and we're figuring it out, and we're getting in touch with ourselves. But anyways, I just thought that was a super important thing to keep in mind. Don't just focus on just like because that's your perception. If you're deciding this is the light, this is what the light means, this is the paradigm of the light and stuff like that, then you are making all of these structures, all of these decisions. You are creating that, what you believe it has to be. That's why there's so much stuff about religion that has to be, it's just a created thing. Even if there is a true aspects to what it is that they're showing, they've manipulated it, they've dirtied it, you know. So anyways, the, you know, focusing on the self-love, super important. Focusing on yourself and figuring out how to just love yourself. And you know, when somebody says something about what is that word, unconditional love, you know, not having conditions, not like you have to do this and then I'll love you. You got to do that to yourself too. You can't be like, well, you know, if you would do this better, maybe I would like you more. If you would just look better, if you would have a prettier face, if you would have a better body, if you weren't just such a pig all the time, you know, don't put those conditions on yourself. You're judging yourself. So how in the world can we expect you not to judge everyone else? You're so hard on yourself. You've got to release. And you've got to look at like, why am I like that to myself? Why am I, you know, creating all this expectation of perfection that I have to be? And whose perfection am I trying to be? You know, who are you trying to be perfect for? And whose rules are you going by that creates what you believe is perfection? You know, that's not the goal. Your goal is not to be perfect. Your goal is to experience and learn and to enjoy life while you have it. You know, that's one thing that's super important. Quit forgetting to live because you're so focused on dying. Everybody's so focused on scared to death. Oh, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. You know, you're not leaving. You're not going anywhere. You're just like leaving the room. You're just stage right in it. So, you know, people have got to, you put way too much pressure on yourself. You put way too much pressure on the experience, and it kind of, you know, that all has to do with states of consciousness. Like if you're not able to get to that in this life, you know, that, I mean, it goes on and on and on for infinity. Don't worry about it. You know, don't get all caught up. Like if I'm going to be left behind or anything, you're not going to be left behind. Time is a concept anyway. So like what, you live 20 years and, you know, you're not going to see somebody that's going to you, you went through 20 years of experience, but think about the space-time continuum, and you go out and all, you know, 1 second has passed where we all are. So you get to go and have these experiences that feels like a lifetime, and you come back and spend 1 second. For us, we barely, you know, we just went to sleep and you got up. That's the thing. Our space-time it's a construct, and, you know, we get caught up in it. Our minds take all of these parameters and create it into reality. Oh, and he said another interesting thing too, because he said that in the physical, in the what is that called again? The material, like the material world, that is created by darkness. And when he is talking about the dark and the light too, of where that came from, all the way back to the cellular beginning of the planet, that the dark is the female and the light is the male. And that's why throughout our consistent time of history that women, and I just watched a movie about this yesterday. I was just messaged my mom about this yesterday. But that is why the female that would get more connected to the earth and stuff. And that is why that they would get called witches and stuff like that, because they were dark. They had to be darkness, because they couldn't be the light. They were the dark. And so that's what's so interesting, how life plays out the manifestation of the see, this is where it's like really hard to explain, but it's just, it's played out. What's really going on is played out. Like it's right before our eyes, but we just can't see it clearly. And the more that we start understanding things on like metaphors and things that represent other things and stuff like that, the more that we will have a deeper understanding of what is really going on, I think. So, I thought that, yeah, that was super interesting about the dark and the light. I really thought some of the stuff that he talked about with the early planet stuff when he was explaining like about those tetrahedron, I can't say those words very well. I've got some of those in my room, but I can't, but I can picture them. And I know you know what I'm talking about, those things that, because supposedly our soul is really in one of these things. What are they called? Tetrahedron? Oh, I can't think of the words, and I'll sit here and keep stumbling trying to say it, but you know what I'm talking about. And but I found the stuff that, yeah, he was saying about the dark and the light to be so interesting with and I love the way he explained that enlightenment isn't to try and go for the light, it's to try and find balance between the dark and the light too. And because I kept seeing it as you got to stop judging. You got to stop thinking that these experiences, like one's over the other or something. You have to not see other people as, a competition or whatever. You got to just stop judging others and, realize everyone's having an experience. And so I really liked how he explained it. So anyways, I just wanted to get that little bit out there, and I'm gonna keep watching it, so I'm sure I'll say more. But I think I said what his show was called. Let me see again. Initiation. And oh, I thought maybe I'd say his name up there, but so far it's just like this guy just talking, and it has some slides or something. They're pretty cool. Like whoever made them did really good. Like when he's talking about how the DNA structure is, it's like the same structure as in nature, which is in the same structure as the soul and stuff. Like he explains stuff really. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, then yeah, you'd probably be interested in listening to him. So have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.